All right, Karen. First of all, tell us how the Easter egg hunt went.
Oh my God, it was so cute. I didn't get there for the whole thing. I missed the little kids, but I was there for like the 5 and 8-year-olds and then the older ones, but it was really cute.
There was like 4,000 eggs or something out there. There were so many eggs out there.
There were like 4,000 kids. I mean,
really, where'd they come from?
I don't know, all over the place. There were tons of families
Yeah.
there. And I mean, there were a lot of kids.
Nice.
It was fun.
Or was it a free for all?
I think it was more of a free for all.
Isn't it always with the Easter egg hunts?
Yeah.
And it was a big open field too. It's not like they were hidden. They were everywhere. So
well, and what's left, if they didn't get them all, the birds are going to have a heyday. So,
oh yeah.
So and the Easter bunny was there.
Yes.
And his carrot.
Wow.
What does
like
that
a
mean?
Separate
carrot? Yeah, the carrot was separate.
I
the
see.
Easter bunny, and so
I,
Mayor and Megan.
Oh, I see. Oh, he dressed up as the Easter
he
bunny.
Was the Easter bunny, and Megan was a carrot.
I have to say that
that had to be warm too.
Oh my God!
yeah.
Can you imagine?
Do you remember when you were a kid? Like we hid.
No, I don't.
I mean, we hid the actual eggs that we colored the night before.
Right. Well, I mean,
they didn't have plastic eggs back in the day.
Filled with all kind of goodies.
Did they have chocolate eggs out there? I can't imagine they had chocolate eggs out there. Would have melted.
They had real eggs.
Yeah.
They did have real eggs. Yeah. And I think they had filled ones too, but they had real eggs.
Were there money in any of the plastic eggs?
Know.
Because I mean, that's all the
like
kids.
A Fabergé
I mean,
egg.
do the kids these days care about money more than what do they want in their eggs? These kids these days.
I think money is better than chocolate.
Yeah, especially in that
That's
heat.
the older kids. The younger kids are like they just want
they just want the egg. They just want the.
They just want
to win.
They want the basket with the most eggs in it.
They do.
Just like Halloween, you want the bag with the most candy in it, which you're never going to eat.
But you should never put all your eggs in the same basket.
Oh, please! Do not applaud for her. That is not so.
I used
lame.
to buy on Halloween. My kids would come home with all this candy, and I didn't want them to eat it, so I would buy it back from them.
Oh.
So we would have negotiations on how much the Baby Ruth was worth or how much the Butterfinger was worth.
What was worth more?
Butterfinger, because I liked Butterfingers.
All right, I would say Snickers and would be mine was worth.
Butterfingers for me.
What about you?
Hershey Kisses.
I see.
Oh,
yeah, I find still to this day, I find those little crumpled up Hershey Kisses things all over the house. They're everywhere. When they're cleaning out the pool today because we're getting our pool redone, there's going to be some of those things in the bottom of the pool.
I'll tell you what, those ones at Christmas, the peppermint ones, those are the bomb.
Really?
They
I have no
hot
idea what you're
cocoa
talking about.
now. They have all sorts of flavors in the Hershey Kiss, people. I should take some stock out in there because
Let's stick to our guests, please, dear. Enough about you. So, first of all, Karen,
do you have candy on the town council? Like, do they have a candy dish there?
I have not seen it.
They need to do that.
I haven't seen it.
Speaking of that, we need to give a shout out to Diamond Head. I mean, those folks have stepped up for everything.
Everything. You know what? I was just talking about that today at the table that I was sitting at afterwards. It's like they have become the partner for the town.
Right.
Donating the room for every event, for every meeting,
Yes.
all the advisory boards. They have been outstanding.
It would have been difficult to figure out how to do it without them. I mean, where would you be holding all those meetings? There's
Probably
air conditioning.
still in the tent.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And this, there were some blips at the beginning, but you guys figured out how to do the video. So everything's clear. The sound is good.
Did you see they have the new mics in now?
Nice.
That last meeting
the
of
last
Board
meeting.
Cap and everything, it was all the new mics. It was awesome.
Every week it seems like it's
Except
getting better.
I didn't know that I
turn it on.
Just turn it off and on anymore, and I was just talking away. I'm like, oops.
They've been outstanding, and it's I just hope people remember that when things get back to normal, and that they really stepped up, and helped out the town in a big way. I mean, they didn't need to do that. They could just go about their business and rent rooms and do it like that, but they really have stepped up.
They still have the rooms, I believe, set aside for the essential workers and people that are in town. In addition to, they keep opening more rooms for vacationers, but they still have the essential worker rooms.
It was so funny today as I was driving by Diamond Head, I saw a guy outside painting, like he was painting the outside of the building. In normal times, that would seem normal.
Right.
But there's debris everywhere around Diamond Head, and here's the guy painting the outside of the building with a roller, making it normal, making the building look normal. It was just like so out of it's crazy how times are. That was like out of touch with the rest of what's going on.
Did you look around here?
Yeah, but
no, but he's trying to make, he's doing a great job.
I think
for sure.
Each place is in its own stage of recovery.
Right.
So today, when I was walking around and talking to people, one of the questions that comes up a lot is we have now it's been over 6 months. There are certain houses and buildings that have not been touched yet. There's so much going on. There's so much for the town to deal with. There's so much for everybody to deal with. But there's certain places that haven't been touched. How is the town dealing with, okay, you got to clean up your crap now?
Well, and Town Hall is one of them.
Right.
And
setting a bad example.
Town Hall is, oh my gosh, I just have to say, this little girl, she's so cute.
She's coming. Don't hold your answer. She wants to come over. Come over this way. Come over this way. We saw each other at the Easter egg hunt. And so I want you to grab a microphone.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Now your camera's going to be right here. So I know you want to go ahead and say whatever you want to say.
Happy Easter.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
Well, and what are you doing? You have your bag of goodies,
I'll
right?
hold this for you. Go ahead. Now
I have something for you.
Oh my goodness.
And this is for you. It's a bracelet that says Beach Talk Radio.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
How cool is
goodness.
that?
That's very nice.
So
And
sweet.
I have mine from this morning. You were
Thank
over
you.
at Diamond Head, and she was selling her bracelets for $1 a piece, and so I have
You
mine.
need to remember that.
Did you
It's awesome.
Did you make these yourself?
Yes.
She did.
Wow, that's very nice. Thank
She
you
did,
for
she
that
did.
so much. How many eggs did you get this morning?
Let's just say a lot.
Yeah, okay. Now, did you break them open? Was there any money in the eggs?
Not any money.
What?
but
They didn't put any money in there? Did you see all those rich people over there putting those eggs out? They didn't put any money
They're
in
trying
those
to build their
plastic-
houses. Come on.
So what were in the eggs? Were they regular eggs? Like
They were so they're plastic eggs and they were like candy inside.
I see. So you got a lot of candy.
Perfect.
Yes.
So you're gonna throw that out when you get home, right?
No.
Because you're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite candy?
My favorite candy is Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
Oh, there you
Reese's
go.
Pieces.
Oh,
Yeah.
Very
sister, go high
Did
on
you
that
check
one.
and
That's
see
a
if-
good one.
Butterfinger? I love Butterfingers. No
Did you check and
Butterfingers?
see if you got any Reese's Pieces in the?
I don't think we got any chocolate because I think if we got chocolate, it would melt
Of
already.
course, yeah.
He's-
Silly. There, it would have melted. Why did you ask that
You're
question?
so silly.
So now, do you live here?
We live in New York,
Yeah, New York.
Oh, where do you live
Oh.
in New York?
Manhattan,
You live in
Wow,
Manhattan.
nice.
Very nice.
The Upper
Very
East Side?
nice. Yeah.
Upper East Side.
Oh, very nice. Upper East Side. Wow. So are you a Trump fan or? Oh, never mind. I
No,
didn't mean
no,
to
don't
ask
even
that.
go
Oh, I
there.
don't want to.
Come
I mean,
on.
the crowd's going crazy.
Don't digress.
But you can answer that if you want.
How
or-
old are you?
9,
9. So
You're
what
not-
grade are you in?
4th grade.
Nice.
9.
so
Nice.
well
You're like-
spoken.
To me,
so
you're like 19. The way
presentation.
you're
I know.
talking, she's like
I know.
19.
She's
So-
amazing.
So when are you going to run for president?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. When you
think
grow
about it.
10
what-
years maybe? Give it 10 years.
When you
Yeah.
grow up, what would you like to do?
I like to act.
Oh, of
so
course.
Like,
Oh, well, you're
I
in the
think you're
perfect
gonna be-
place.
yeah,
Broadway.
I think you're going to be really good at that. So, well, thank you for the gifts and thank
you
for,
so
I'm
much.
I'm gonna-
They're
So cute.
beautiful.
Thank you very
That could
much.
be-
And thank you
that
for
could
coming
be
on
a-
the show.
You're
Anklet for you.
welcome.
All right. Hope
I
you got
know,
a lot
and
of Reese's
Somebody
Pieces.
gave
Thank
us
you.
this last-
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's cool. Yeah, that's totally cool.
Oh, to be 9 years old again, everybody.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Did you like my diversion from your
It was
questions?
very nice, Karen. Good work on that.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Wow. 9 years old.
I know,
I know.
she's
Crazy.
incredible. She came up to all the tables and we all bought bracelets and
Nice.
yeah,
It was,
it was
so
very fun.
sweet. So sweet.
When
Yeah.
When she said the Upper East Side, I was like, okay, well, there you go.
I was being
Upper East Side.
I know you would. I know.
What
You
is
were
the-
just throwing that out there. And she's like,
just
yeah.
throwing it out there. Yeah.
is the
actually.
Upper East Side where all the money is? I have no idea.
I think
Moving
Manhattan in
remember,
general,
moving
like
True.
up to the east side
I see.
with
Well,
a
like the
deluxe
Jeffersons.
apartments in
in
the
the
sky.
sky. We're moving on.
Wow,
up.
that was very nice. I mean, yeah, when she's
She's so well spoken.
yeah,
She
for
is.
She had a
9
great
years old.
voice too. Great
Yeah.
voice.
So
Very cute.
I didn't lose my place, Karen. My question was, you hear people talk about, they're working on their house, but there are other people that haven't touched anything. And so is there I know there's so much going on, but is something in place where, okay, now folks, you gotta pick this, you gotta do something.
It's not in place yet, but we have had a lot of conversations about it. A part of the holdup is insurance. And if they have adjusters or they have an attorney because they haven't been paid, then they will say they're reluctant to do anything because they don't want to remove anything that could still be inspected again and that kind of thing. So we have that going on with Town Hall right now. So once we get all of that signed off on, then we can go ahead with the demo of that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people waiting. On the flip side, there might just be people that are just, reluctant to do anything, and I don't know where that sits.
But, they might be overwhelmed.
I think that's part of it. It's like, how do you go after? There's so many. Like every time you think all the debris is gone, the next weekend you come down and there's some
more.
Other houses that got knocked down, and there are many more that will probably be knocked down.
Well, and I've seen, on the bike ride, I've seen houses that still have the contents inside of them, but the house, everything in there is good. That's what I worry about too. Like, you want to get that out of there, or you wanted to get that out of there when they were picking it up, because eventually
you're going to have to be a cost or whatever.
Right.
But I think they also have, and I don't know if we can extend anymore. They said no, but who knows?
How can you not? But how can you not?
I know, exactly. And I don't know how much the debris cleanup really is individually, if you have to hire someone to do that. But to me, there has to start being some kind of stepping stone, just like the RVs. We said 18 months, and there could be an extension if you are truly in the building mode, if you have your permits going, if you have things like that, but it's just taking longer. We understand that, there'll be grace periods, I would think. And I think we have to do the same with demo.
You, what's going on with the tents? The tents, people living in the tents.
Most of them have been removed.
Okay.
I believe. We found some shelters for people.
You weren't in favor of the tents.
I wasn't in favor of the tents. It's hard enough to look at all the destruction and then to have it turn. And it's not that I don't have empathy for the people that don't have a place to live, but I think there's options for them, and people have found options for them, whether it be shelters or other living areas, but they're pretty much gone. Everything I've seen, I haven't seen very many of them at least on the beach. They do have them on the other side of the bridge.
On the other side, yeah. Not our problem though.
But that's not Fort Myers
I think
Beach.
it's a hard thing when someone's lost their place.
It's really hard
that they can't inhabit the last piece of land that they have. So was the problem with the tents the way, what was the issue with the tents?
Well, I don't think the people that actually owned the land were the people in the tents.
Okay.
So I think they were allowed to put their tent there maybe by the owner.
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, but I don't think they actually owned the land where they had their tent. So, but they have been helped, is my understanding, and they have been moved, and they're in better places.
Are you opposed to a homeowner that doesn't have a home yet, that is trying to rebuild a home, living in a tent on their own property?
I'm probably not as opposed to that because it is their own property, but I just think for their own sanity and everything else, there's better places that they could find.
But you can't have it both ways either. You can't have a tent. You're not allowed to live in a tent, right?
I don't have to make that decision right now.
Right. So the 7-Eleven sign I want to talk to you about. What was your take on that whole thing? It went crazy on the 7-Eleven sign.
Well, this is not a cop-out, but I was out of town during that week.
He's still paying attention, though.
Oh, yeah, you have to pay attention to all of it. But I think it was, it was too big.
It was not an approved sign.
It was not an approved sign.
And somebody filed a complaint. I think it was I don't know for sure, but I think it was a real estate agent that filed a complaint because they're not allowed to have signs that big. And if we're going to play by the same rules, we're playing by the same rules.
Well, and, for the sake of consistency, yes, we had to do it and we had to take it down and we had a complaint. But I'm just glad to see them back. Let's just put it that way.
Well, they're not back yet.
Well, they're not back, but they're coming back.
So today,
And they gave out free slushies.
Oh, please. All those Slurpees do is make people fat.
Slurpees.
Slushies.
Not slushies.
Where's the
Slurpees.
slushie from? I took a
Minnesota.
picture. I can't find it, of course. So,
Right? Right.
Wait.
Slushies.
Not Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
So I took a picture today of the Publix sign. Now, Publix has a sign up that they're reopening soon. Did you see that?
I have not seen that.
Now, of course,
What is soon?
that's a good question.
I wanna know
Neither
when
Dan
is
knows
soon.
or Jim knows. I asked them both. You don't know either.
I
So
don't
they're
know.
not communicating with the town. Wouldn't it be nice if Publix communicated with the town when they would be reopening? Because
It would be great.
people would.
Well, maybe they're not sure. What
Well,
are you
it
going to make
says-
a comment
well,
about the sign?
No, well,
The
of course,
size of
I
it?
didn't post anything about the permit for the sign, but everybody else did because they were, they were flashing back to the 7-Eleven sign.
Right.
But isn't
So-
that the same size?
It is the same
Sign?
size. It
Oh,
is. So
okay.
I'm guessing it's, but if nobody complains, I mean, the whole thing is silly. I mean, the whole thing is silly. People want to see signs that say opening soon, we're
Right.
coming back.
Right.
But I mean, and then
Back in
somebody,
full
the fact that somebody
strength,
filed
whatever,
a complaint
yeah.
was goofy to me. I mean, I'm no fan of 7-Eleven because I think that if they really cared about Fort Myers Beach, they would have been open already and they would have done something. You can't get a bottle of water
I
on
know.
Fort Myers Beach.
Or
You can't get a
ice.
gallon of gas. You can't get
Yep.
shit on Fort Myers Beach right now because these people think like Publix and
still have a
7-Eleven,
child over
these people think that nobody's here.
I know.
It's ridiculous. There are tons of people here. I mean,
Well, there's
it
tons
doesn't
of
fit into their
people-
business model.
Right. There's tons of people here, but have you noticed the lack of people in the past week?
Yes.
It has
Yeah,
really
Yes.
dropped off.
I think
yeah.
people are normally it's after Easter that you see the drop, but it's
A
been
week
big,
earlier.
It's been a big,
Yeah,
big drop this
But my
week.
point
Yep.
is, if these people like 7-Eleven, these massive corporations that make so much money, like 7-Eleven and Publix, really cared about a
Mhm.
community that got killed by a Category 5 hurricane, I don't care what
Only
people
four
say.
when it
I don't
hit
care what people
landfall.
say. They would have opened with limited business. Publix would
I
have
have
been
to agree with you. I
Publix
tend
would
to
have been
agree with you all the way
flooded
through
every
everything.
day.
Yeah, they would have been.
So you
They
don't.
would have
So
been.
you don't have every single thing.
And the closest Publix was torn down.
Yeah.
It's not. It's under construction. It's going up really fast, but so yeah, that one was torn down. So why wouldn't you open this one? Because people have to drive all over
Yeah. Did
traffic
they
and
have
everything else to
structural
find a
damage?
Publix.
No, I think that one was planned to be knocked down. That Publix. It
No,
wasn't.
no. The
Oh.
one on the beach. Did
Well,
they
they-
have structural
They-
damage?
No.
I have
Okay.
an
I don't
inside.
think
I have
so.
an inside. We have an inside friend who's been kind of giving us information that he shouldn't be giving us, and it's that they're.
Well, I have received, for the record,
Well, when I
have
tell you
no-
later who it is, you'll know who it is. But
I know, but whoever it is, I don't know, and whoever it is hasn't said it to me. That's all
Well,
I'm
my-
saying.
she's got a.
I'm covering
She
myself.
doesn't want to go into podcasting jail for some reason.
That's right.
Like we're going to say
That's
something.
right. Are you guys
Uh,
under the sunshine laws?
No.
Please. So anyway, enough of my soapbox. So we've had a lot of stuff going on, Karen, that you were in the
Here
middle
we
of,
go.
but we'll save that for
What's
the
going
end.
on? I don't think there's anything going on, is there?
Are you happy with the permitting process?
I'm happy that there have been changes made, that it's moving forward. We are not there yet. We're getting there. So we are really working hard on bringing everything that we possibly can in-house. So we were able to get approval to hire 4 full-time people that were actually from the state and helping us. And we had 45 people from the state, all in different capacities. So a lot of the code enforcement people, we had like 15 code enforcement people from the state. They're all gone. Everybody, just so you know that, they're all gone. But we had a lot of people in the permit office from the state, and we were able to retain 4. They actually applied for jobs as we opened them up, and they were really good people. So we hired those 4. We are trying now to use contractors only on a scale up or scale down basis when we need it. We are not just automatically using contracting firms across the state. So it's getting there. It's not there yet, but it's a lot better than it was.
Okay.
So you got 4. How many were there before they pulled out? Like how many?
These are 4 replacements.
Okay.
Of people that were there. So
the state was originally paying for that. The state contract expired, and the town figured out how to cover the cost to bring the 4 back. Is that correct?
The 4 that came from the state are actually open positions that we had before with people that left during Ian or couldn't make it back on the island or whatever.
Are you still getting complaints from people about permits?
Well, you're always going to get complaints.
Yeah. Less now or the same amount?
Oh, way less.
Okay.
Way less. And truly, a lot of the complaints are they just don't agree with why they have to have a permit.
I see.
It may not be, I don't agree with why a lot of things that we have to have permits for, but there's something that we can't do about it. I mean, it's FEMA. It's 50%. We've got to abide by those rules.
Why can't this might sound stupid to anybody from the town listening, but why can't the permitting department be open 24 hours? Like this is the biggest thing for these residents
because
on the
we don't
beach.
have the staff to do it.
They don't have the staff. Okay.
We don't have the staff. When the reason that we pulled back on the hours again, we had extra people from the state.
That's
we don't
what I was
have those
at.
extra
Like,
people anymore.
Right.
So the other thing that's happening is all the contractors that we had, I think Keith is coming for approval to the council either in the next meeting or the meeting after that to actually replace the contractors with full-time people. And that's basically not a budget thing. That's just a wash and probably less because we're not paying the contract markups for that. So there'll be more positions that are open and hired because we're going to bring contractors in-house.
Do you feel like the town is doing enough to get people permits fast enough to build their homes? Yes or no?
I think we can do better.
How?
By streamlining some of the efforts. I think by having the contractors have people in-house, that everybody is going to work into a rhythm and sync, and the processes are going to be streamlined versus everything going over to the East Coast and then you have no control over it and then it comes back. So I think it will continue to get better. And I know it's a huge objective on Steve Proposki.
Are there different permits? Like, can you have specialists in electrical permitting? And I mean, are there any other ways to streamline that, to make it more
I mean, they
effective?
have already kind of categorized some of it. Whether we have enough people in those categories is still part of the issue too. There was Keith was meeting with a number of people that do a lot of permitting, a lot of contractors and that kind of thing. And then it came out that might be in violation of sunshine laws, which I don't think it was. But now he continues to meet on an individual basis with these people and just brainstorm and get ideation and that type of thing. So I do think it's going to continue to get better. We're not there yet. I'll be the first one to admit it.
Okay. Some people, last question about the permitting. And then we got to talk about the town manager, but some people that I talk to say that the town is really nitpicking them on certain things. Like you nitpick them on one thing and then it goes back in the portal and then it's just a delay, where they could be, if we actually sat down with somebody who knew, because of these residents who are dealing with this, which you are too, Dan is too, Jim is too, everybody's dealing with it personally.
Right.
If you could just help me get through this so I understand it. I'm printing out 24 pages. I'm printing out 18 pages. I'm just trying to rebuild my home. How do you get to the point where somebody could actually sit down with them and say, okay, let's do this so you can go out and drill and saw and put your life back together?
More and more, there are meetings that are taking place. There are appointments being made. Steve Proposki has said that over and over. Come into the offices. We are willing to sit down. We're willing to talk to you. Understand we're also in the middle of a huge culture change. This is unlike anything we have done in the past, or at least since I've lived on this island, we went to a very closed-minded, closed culture for a number of years. And now we're changing that culture, but some people are slower to change than others.
Is Steve the right person for that job?
Time will tell.
Okay.
Time will tell. I think I will say that he, let's be fair. He started the week before the hurricane.
Yeah.
He was hired by a different manager looking for different skill sets. And all of that changed in his life in a matter of days.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Keith is his manager now. And Keith is a 180 from his previous manager with totally different expectations. And I think Steve he's definitely trying. He's definitely made moves forward. And I think there's more to come.
So,
well, the other thing too is we were talking to somebody who said it's not just homeowners, but that the contractors aren't familiar with the process,
or they're not doing what they really should do. There's some of them aren't following up. Some of them are leaving the homeowners
in the lurch with
hanging
the permit
out there.
Mm-hmm.
And even 2 weeks ago, I was talking to a resident.
They're supposed to know.
Yeah, and they should be
supposed to
right.
know.
They
So
should know,
the blame goes all around.
And I don't know how they handle it in other municipalities per se, but people are coming in and they want to cut corners, and we are not letting them cut corners, and there's a reason for that.
Because of the next storm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so grade.
I mean, look at the places that withstood the storm.
Yeah.
The new builds with the new codes and that
They
type
look
of thing.
fabulous.
We need to get to that place for everyone.
So
that was your last question.
I know.
about
Grade
permits.
permitting when you first started to now. 2 grades.
Permitting when I first started was an F, total fail. I think we are probably a C+.
Okay. Well, that's progress.
It's progress.
I mean,
Yeah.
all right.
And we'll
so,
get better. I know we will.
So in a perfect world, and nothing against Andrew Hyatt, because I think he's a great guy. Keith, I don't know. I haven't had personal conversations with Keith, but for me, my read on that was he struggled with whether or not to take that job full time, because he fell in love with Fort Myers Beach. He came to Fort Myers Beach and fell in love with it.
He did.
And he was working with a town council that it meshed so well. The thing, I could be wrong. I'm just telling you, this is an outside perspective. I have no inside information. I'll ask him this next week when he's on the show.
He's in Key West this weekend.
Yeah,
Nice.
And so
Took the Key West Express.
he meshes well with the council. It seems like, to me, the last council, the information was so closed, like you couldn't get any information. And then this council's like, it's almost like, oh wow, you got back to me. It's almost that shocking. It's almost that shocking.
Yeah.
But people just want information. They just want information. And and then Chris Holly, pretty much, he seems to me like he set the rule down. Dude, we're consultants. We were hired for 6 months. We did our job. We're moving on. They need to find a leader. They need to find somebody that's going to take them through the next phase, which totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. It seemed like it would have been great for him to stay, but he's retired. He's retired.
He is retired. They built their, retirement home, the place that, their dream home up in Pensacola. Let's face it. Keith is going to miss us. He's going to miss all of us. I mean, we have brought him into this community. And we could bring him in because he's such a good fit. I mean, it's so obvious to everybody what a good fit he is. And he does a great job. And he thinks along the culture lines that we want to get to. I mean, he's very open. He's very team oriented. He's very common sense driven. And he wants to make things better. He wants to make things streamlined and easier. There is going to be, hopefully, once we get through these contract negotiations and we can get Andy to start, hopefully ASAP. So the sooner he can start, the more time he has for balancing with Keith and just moving into that position and see everything where everything is at and laid out. So
how was that process going through it when you were interviewing all the different candidates?
Bizarre.
Okay, let me just.
I mean,
let me
because
take a
you
step
have
back.
an HR background.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how
Right.
different is that process?
It's a 180. It's
Yeah.
a 180. So
Because it was
I-
like this.
yeah,
All
I
right,
look
let
at
her
a
answer.
town manager as the CEO of a corporation.
Yeah, it's a
they
big
are
position.
the CEO of our town. And when you interview for a CEO, this is a long process. And I have interviewed for a lot of CEOs, and it's months, and it's meeting after meeting after meeting, and dinners, and you get to know them in every aspect of their life. And this was a half hour. And oh, by the way, to all the emails that I got, we did not meet individually with these people. We had every council person had a staff person that we met with together. So it was, a sounding board, if you will.
Even if you met individually, what would be the? I mean, what's the criticism of that?
There was criticism about breaking sunshine laws, about doing this. I mean, it was just tons of criticism about it.
Wait, the sunshine law is when
I
you
know,
and other council members.
When no other avenue, they'll throw it out there. Okay. That's what I found.
Well,
anyway.
if everybody knows, it takes an extreme violation of the sunshine law. If we go back to the whale when it was still standing, I have tape
is
of
that. A new owner of the whale over there?
I have tape of that. That didn't violate the sunshine law. But anyway, so it was a staff member and each council member. There were half-hour meetings or whatever.
Answer.
Yeah, it was a half-hour meeting, and then they broke for lunch, and then it was 15 minutes with the public. And I do have to say,
Say it.
Everybody had their opportunity to talk to these people. It was well publicized. There was a breakfast before. They were welcome to the meeting for public comment in the afternoon. And I was extremely disappointed at the turnout.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
It was well publicized. There was a breakfast, and there was public comment. One person spoke.
One person.
So my recommendation
there were two people there, but one person spoke.
Please get behind Andy when he's hired, because we need him to succeed. I mean, there's no other way to do it right now. You can't go have a revolving door of town managers at this point. He needs to be somebody that everybody helps succeed.
Right.
The process that is in place that you were just talking about, is that set up by the charter? Is that set up by?
Yes, it was set up by the charter, including the muffins were written into the charter.
Silliness.
But yes, but that was set up by the charter.
Do you think it's enough? I mean, is that enough time?
Personally, no, I don't think it's enough.
You told me that during the day it was, but there was no way that you were only one vote. That was happening that day. There was no doubt. I mean, or you could have decided not to rank anybody.
It was actually 3-2. So John King and I were not ready, but it was 3-2. And so you go with the majority, and then
you move on.
I have the most background in HR. So I'm contract negotiations with Keith. So,
right. And so let's the bomb you dropped during the meeting, we just want to clear the air on that, because up until that point, I mean, I totally felt like Andy was the top person out of those four. I mean, I didn't talk to anybody else but those four. And I thought he because you have the Surfside thing. I mean, how many town managers are you going to interview that have experience with major disasters like this?
Yeah, disaster recovery.
And that was a national disaster where 98 people died. And then everybody was like, well, why did he quit? Why did he resign? Or blah, blah, blah. Well, because, elections happen, just like an election happened
in
here.
Our election.
Yeah.
Look what happened the first.
Well, it took an election to get rid of that doofus finally. But so, I mean, that's what explains why he left there.
And the other reason that he left his previous job that was in Texas, COVID happened and the funding fell out. And so he was back to his home in Florida, and then Surfside is when he started there.
Yeah.
So, and before that, he had some longevity at other ones.
So what happened?
Yeah. What did he say like that? Totally threw that. I mean, you dropped a major bomb.
It had nothing. Well, and I didn't mean to drop the bomb like that, also notice no one asked me about it either.
That was bullshit right there. Sorry.
So,
but the rest of the town council should have stepped up and said, Karen, what did he say to you? I mean, is this a major question that we should discuss during an open meeting? And nobody said anything.
And so, knowing that I'm HR, knowing that I've lived my life interview, there are red flags that you immediately sense. This one happened to be, it had nothing to do with his background or anything like that. It was a comment when we were actually in talking about 3 different subjects. And I took it to the directive of one subject, but it really wasn't. And
what did he say?
He made a comment that could be misconstrued as a diversity type comment.
Toward women, toward minorities?
Probably toward minorities more. Not women for sure.
Okay.
But minorities. But having said that, and it caught my ear.
You were ready to vote no on him at that point.
And he was my top candidate. And now going back, and once we cleared the air. So here's where I give him a ton of credit. So he was actually listening to your show from his hotel room or wherever he had it on Facebook. He heard me say that. And when he came down after the meeting was over, and he's in his shorts and flip flops, and he and his wife are ready to go walk the town and that type of thing. And he came down solely to seek me out and to talk about it. And he said, I was watching the video. I heard what you say. I honestly don't know what I said. I don't know what the issue is. And I told him, and he's like, no. Remember, we were talking about building, and we were talking about all the things that aren't there anymore. And he made the comment, it's not my dad's Miami anymore. I took it from one perspective, but he was talking about the old ball fields are not there. The old picnics are not there. The old, neighborhood parades and going out on your bike all day are not there. That was what he was talking about.
When you heard him say,
so it was a misunderstanding on your part or a misstatement on his part?
A misunderstanding on what he was alluding to.
Okay.
When said it.
So here's a dumb question. When somebody says it's not my dad's Miami, how do you take that the wrong way? I mean, what could that mean? I don't even know what that means.
If you would have heard the entire conversation.
Okay. Something else in there. Gotcha.
It was something else that was and it was misconstrued on my part. It wasn't that he said something derogatory, anything like that.
Okay.
I took it from a different point of the conversation.
Okay, so
But I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
He came down and he immediately wanted to discuss it with me and Keith, because Keith was there too.
Right.
And shame on me. We ran out of time.
But that's why it's good to have 2 people.
That's right.
Right. And
sitting there.
We ran out of time for me to discuss it further. I mean, a half hour, it was gone like that.
Yeah.
Discussing everything.
But do you think that he came looking to you to clear it up because he thought you misunderstood it, or because he wanted the job so badly that he was going to fix it?
No, he was listening to my comments on your video, and he was perplexed.
Okay.
Because he honestly did not know what comment he made that I took wrong.
Good. Because when I interviewed him, I instantly took a liking to him. Like, the guy gets it. The guy he's
gets it.
He's not all about himself. He's not all about, I keep going back to the last manager.
He's huge with family, and his own family his wife is.
And that's what the previous mayor pointed out, is you're getting a good guy, you're getting a family guy, and you're getting somebody that cares about
somebody that was 24/7 after Surfside collapse. I mean, he was, the way he explained all that to us is, he reminded me of Holly Smith and her directive, and how she just went gun ho for Sanibel and all the meetings and all that. I mean, they met 3 times a day as, a council and a group, and with all the disaster recovery people and everything.
She was fabulous.
So, it really played well in my mind. This is what we need.
And you're in charge with which is
Keith and
totally. Oh, it's not Heron?
Keith and I are talking now. Heron has to put the
final contract together. Oh, that's good news. You and
so Keith and I are doing the negotiation.
And so when will that get wrapped up, do you think?
It goes for approval April 17th at the council meeting, and Andy, my understanding is Andy will be there.
Nice.
So between now and then, so we're talking to him as we go through this, and if there's negotiations to be made, hopefully we can get those done.
Is there enough
before
money
So it
on the
needs to
table?
be, wait a minute. It needs to be
Yes.
done
Oh,
in
good.
advance of the 17th, and then that's
So it
just
can go
like
for
puts
approval.
the okay.
Awesome.
So between now and the 17th, we want to have this done. We want to have the actual legal document in front of us on the 17th.
That'd be nice.
All right.
And so how long is the transition? How long is Keith and Chris going to be here?
Technically, Keith is here until May 15th.
All right.
So that's why
Because we got to
say
get that guy out of here. He's been around long enough. I'm tired of seeing his face everywhere. Let's get him
I'm
out of
gonna
here.
miss him.
I know.
I'm going to totally
know.
miss him.
He's
He's
such
been
a
But
my
he
good guy.
could stay a
sounding
little
board.
longer,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you could.
He'll stay as long as he'll stay for
as long
free
as
as
he
long
needs
as
to
he
be.
Yeah.
to help
Yeah,
out,
he stays
which is
on.
nice.
Well, he even talked about, he goes, well, maybe I should just take another month and just be down here. I love it
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So,
He's such a good egg.
yeah, he's great.
So, what's it going to take for Andy to succeed? It's a big project.
It's a big project. Keith and I have already talked about, so the contract is the contract, and there's some things that are standard and something, but performance is the measurable, and that does not go into the contract. That is a separate document. Goals, objectives, performance reviews, expectations, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. That's the way I have lived my life. And so Keith and I have talked about that. So he's starting on that as we speak with everything that he's going to be in the middle of that needs to go forward.
Well, that'll be interesting because it's not a regular town manager's job. You're rebuilding an entire 7 Mile Island.
Right.
And what the town doesn't need is constant turnover in that position.
No,
so
we do not
hopefully-
need turnover.
And
And like you made the comment, I think you made the comment with the way the
the election.
elections
could
are
be here
set
for 8
up.
years.
He could be here for
Yeah,
8
and
years
I know.
with the same
Oh, she's
people.
not here anymore, but I know who I'm going to push to run for Bill Veach's seat if he decides not to run. Is Barb? Do you know Barb? She used to be on the public safety committee. She is freaking
Well,
fabulous.
I don't know her, but I've met her
Oh
through
my gosh.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Bobby
reason I
Jerry
said
Kemp.
that was because if Andy's doing a good job and he doesn't have to worry about the election, because every town manager is one vote away from being, fired. That's just the way it goes. They count votes. And right now it seems like he has 5.
Yep. Usually, though, we're 4-1. So
Yeah. But it looked like even Bill was in favor of Andy. He was his top choice out of that crew. I think that, so, I mean, and
Well, the performance measures, is that something that's public where people can see what he's being,
yeah, it's because the performance reviews are public.
Yeah.
So, I can't imagine that it wouldn't be part of public record of what the expectations are,
I think
the roadmap.
and who comes up with those? You
Well,
guys?
right now, Keith and I
Okay.
are starting on them, but we definitely want to and Keith will get input from the mayor, the vice mayor, from John, from Bill. So, so everybody's going to have their input on
I think
it.
one of the reasons of many that people took a liking to Keith and Chris was because they were so open. Like
Yes.
they communicated with
Yeah.
the community so much
Yep, they did.
all the time.
They
They were at events. You could talk
Mhm.
to them. You could go up to them.
Mhm.
And it was a change of it was like a complete turnaround from what it was before that. And hopefully Andy's the same way, because I think that when you do it that way, you get more support from the people in the community. They want you to succeed, as opposed to when you just seem like you're going to be a hard ass and
Right.
and drive people
Right.
into the ground all the time.
Well, and he was very open about his family situation, that he'll be here, and this is the way they've worked for the last 2 years in Surfside. Their daughter is a junior in college. I think she's got 2 more years to go. His wife works at the college, so therefore it's free tuition.
Mhm.
So she will continue to work at the college in Northern Florida, and daughter will graduate in 2 years, and they will commute. They've been married for 34 years. They figured it out. So
Right.
they'll commute back and forth. She'll visit here. He'll visit there. He said they meet in Orlando a lot. So, they already have talked about this. They already know what their plan is. And he was very open through the whole interview process.
Well, and they did
about
it while
that.
he was in Surfside. So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
They did it while he was in Texas.
The
Right.
other, like, there was one other candidate that was somewhat okay, but it was
Keith's
a
brother.
yeah.
Wilkins?
And the other two were like, okay, there were throw-ins here. I mean, it wasn't even close to me. And the voting turned out to be not even close. I mean, Andy won it by a mile.
Yeah, he did.
So, Karen, if you were to choose one commercial location that would be the first to rebuild on the island, which one do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be, I think there could be a tie. It could be between the Whale.
Yes.
And it could be between the Cottage.
There we go.
Oh, that's new. I thought the Whale for sure. I mean, those folks are ready to roll.
They're ready to roll.
Yeah, so.
They are. And Don and Mike
They
were here.
here.
I don't see them anymore, but
well, that's because he's going on and on.
I know.
And on.
It's an hour and a half now.
Yeah.
We've got 14% power left. Last question.
Oh, good. We're running out of power.
Yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
What doesn't keep me up at night lately? Well, I'm working on my own permit again. So we got the permit for the fence. We got the permit for the redecking of the dock. We got the permit for the outside enclosure of the house. Now I'm working on the inside, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
I will say that. So I personally am going through the permitting process, folks. The biggest thing is, so the whole 6 month and all the notoriety that it received, and it was it was really, really a tough day. It was a tough week. It's been tough, but I want all of us to move forward now. I think that's the biggest thing. And how can we move forward most effectively, most efficiently? What's done is done, and there's no going back. So now what do we need to do to continue to move forward and rebuild and continue to keep that closenessity of all of our people here and our residents? And I keep seeing more and more for sale signs, and it's breaking my heart.
Today was, I just saw so many in a row.
I went up and down the island the other day. I was gone for a week. I did spring break with my kids and grandkids, and when I came back, I just drove the island the other day, and it's like so many more for sale signs than were a month ago. And that truly breaks my heart, but I get it. But I hope we can get past this. I want people to start moving forward. I want to see construction. I want to see building. I want to hear noise.
Yes.
I want to be woken up at 6 a.m. because somebody's sawing or pounding or whatever it may be.
Not knocking down a building, but putting one back up.
Yeah, exactly. So, and like the whole idea, you talked about doing the 5K run on the beach, and people are ready. Well, get this one. So I just brainstormed with Jeff at Bay Oaks this morning, and I think we are going to shoot for a 4th of July parade.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah. You heard it here first.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
So Jeff is all over it. I mean, he's like, oh my gosh, Bay Oaks always did this. I got the template. We can do it.
Estero Boulevard is finally clear enough where you can.
Estero Boulevard, we can bring it all. You start at Bay Oaks, come here, end here with Wahoo Willie's. Maybe we can get Wahoo and Snug to be sponsors
or
of
Bayside
us,
Park could be a concert at oh, wait a second.
Yeah,
it's still got a red fence around.
We were so close. We
don't have any outlets on the stage. So
I know they're putting bids out for it though. So I know they're getting closer to eventually fixing Bayside Park. But
and you know what would be so cool?
Yeah.
Is if someone wanted to like donate fireworks and a barge and have a big fireworks
nice
display.
Way to end it.
That would have to
we
be
should
a
start
donation.
Working on that. We need a committee.
Yeah, well, Bay Oaks, Jeff at Bay Oaks, he's going to head up that whole committee, but we need
funds.
See, right? We'll get there.
Figure it out.
We'll get there.
Karen, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for everything. I don't want to interrupt her. Round of applause, Karen Woodson, everybody, town council woman, and a great friend of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Karen is always awesome. Just coming on.